The 9.1 patch date is finally available to us, and as I'm recording this video, we've got 11 days to go until June 29th. In this video, I'm going over the general patch content, why I think we're getting it when we're getting it, and what my plans are going forward into the Chains of Domination. My name is Ivona from momsden.com, and if you happen to be here for the first time, subbing now will work out for you just fine, as I do simple guides for classes, raids, and collectibles you'll enjoy if you're up for some easy in-game wins. I also live stream on this channel quite a bit, and I'm currently covering both WoW and Final Fantasy XIV, so if you're into that, you'll like it here. Regarding the patch content, we've got some big chunks of novelties like Korthia, which is the new zone, the Sanctum of Domination raid, Tazavesh, the 8-boss mega dungeon, new seasonal affix for Mythic Plus, new PvP season, and of course flying. We're also getting some other stuff like the new world boss, upgraded Torghast, the continued Covenant campaign, a whopping 40 more levels of renown, and a bunch of new collectibles. All in all, it seems like a fine patch, but due to people waiting for it for so long now, I wonder if all these things will be enough to rehype the masses as the patches usually do. Before I get into my plans for the content, I'd like to touch on something kind of funny, and that's the urgency with which the patch date has been announced, of course with a disclaimer that all of this is my opinion only, and it isn't based on any released information, so take it as a semi-educated gossip. Previously, we've been getting some bits and pieces of unofficial information that made us feel optimistic about the patch coming up in July, whereas the more realistic date was August. Then it went really quiet for a hot minute, and it quickly evolved into the patch being in June, and it's the 29th nonetheless. There could have been multiple reasons for this, even though the obvious one seems to be that we've been running without any new content for like 8 months. It could have been some sort of internal deadline that made June the target for the new content release, regardless of its state. Also, the Burning Crusade is now live, and the people who subbed for that reason will still get to experience Chains of Domination inside of their subscription period if they so choose. So it's something to keep them a bit more engaged and willing to resub for another 2 months. Another factor is the fact that all the people who got themselves a 6-month subscription at the beginning of Shadowlands now need a reason to resub again, and the release date as it is now has the highest chance of keeping them from cancelling their sub in the meantime. If we look at it long term, getting the Chains of Domination out as soon as possible will allow the potential 9.2 patch to counter the big dates of competitive games releases like Final Fantasy XIV's new expansion coming out in about 5 months. If we were to get the Chains of Domination in July or August, there would be very little chance for the 9.2 to even arrive that early on. And speaking of the other games, there has been a surge of so-called WoW refugees into Final Fantasy XIV, largely due to the influence of some big names in WoW community like Bellular, Preach, and Asmongold, who have recently been posting quite a bit of content about the game that's been taking the MMO community by the storm. This could be the way to counter it, at least somewhat, but only if the patch is actually good and doesn't feel rushed, unfinished, buggy, or in any way less than we as players and customers deserve after a long content drought. Regarding my own plans for the 9.1, the first thing I'd like to touch on is raiding. Some of you who have been following me and my guild's adventures in Mythic Castlnathria probably noticed that I'm no longer raiding Mythic, and that will continue to be the case in the next tier. The reasons for this are plenty, and even though I love my guildmates and raiding Mythic overall, I've lately been feeling like I've gotten an extra job shift in WoW that doesn't even include the stuff I do for the channel. It's been taking a lot of my time and effort, and I haven't quite been keeping up with my plans for the channel by committing myself to Mythic raids. The main idea of Momsden as a guide resource has been, and will continue to be, simple guides that are instantly rewarding, and as much as I wanted it, Mythic raiding just doesn't fit into that mold. I will continue to raid on all the other difficulties as much as time allows, and I'll definitely provide the Sanctum guides for LFR and normal just like I did for Castlnathria, but when it comes to my overall raiding commitment for the next year, I just cannot bring myself to do more. The new systems, legendary recrafting, spec and covenant rerolling, renown grind, gems, sanctum armor, and all these different things are way too much for me to handle as a content creator right now, and I'm choosing to put both my audience and my channel first by giving you what you actually need and want to see. What you'll be seeing a whole lot of is all the sweet Korthia content. As is the City of Secrets, I'll be going super deep into everything you can do there and get from there, so if you'd like to stay on track with your collection, miss mysteries, puzzles, and the actual fun stuff, I think you'll like what I've got in store for the 9.1. I'll also be updating the mounts, pets, and toys playlists with the Shadowlands collectible guides for all 4 covenants, and from time to time I'll tap into the super fun legacy collectibles that you probably haven't even heard of, but you want to have even though you don't know that yet, but trust me, you do. When it comes to my alts, this is a real pain for me. I've been wanting to have 4 characters for all 4 covenants and do all the content with them, but that's a dream I've been drifting further and further away from, as the grind and gearing for alts is simply not worth my time right now. Even when it comes to collecting, we still don't have an update on whether or not the achievement for Sanctum Buildings at level 3 that gets you an anima boost is going to ever be account-wide. Until it does, and until I complete the content I've planned out, tapping into the alt territory is going to be off limits. For now, I'm playing my Warlock as a 3 spec and 2 DPS specs of my Druid, and when it comes to the class guides for the 9.1, that is what you can expect to get updates for, at least for the time being. When it comes to Mythic Plus and high-end content on that front, I'm afraid that's also going to be off limits for the time being, mostly because everything is really the same as in last season except for the new affix, and that's not really guide or stream worthy. This is again a piece of content I'll be doing for myself, my guild, and my character's progress, and since I won't be raiding Mythic, and I definitely am not in love with the whole Mythic Plus system, I won't be bothering you with that too much. What I will do, play and content-wise, is the whole Tazavesh thing, as the dungeon's freaking awesome, and it does require some mind work to get you through it, so you can look forward to that as well. Regarding PvP, I'd personally like to get myself back into it with my balanced Druid, and I've got some content plans for it as well. Unfortunately, though, most of my friends and potential arena buddies have drifted away from the game, so I'm currently in an awkward situation where I queue a lot and lose a lot. So I'll be working on getting that sorted and providing you with some beginner-friendly guides, if that's something you'd like to see, of course. So would you like to see some PvP stuff too? Let me know in the comments. Alright, let's talk Torghast. As I won't be actively pursuing the 1% status in the next tier, I won't be getting myself anywhere near the legendary re-rolling drama and sending Soul Ash over to my poor alts, but I will check it out, as that used to be the feature that got me excited about Shadowlands in the first place. What a bummer for me, right? I mean, Torghast is a lot better place to be in after the reworks, but it's still not quite as advertised when it comes to its roguelike features. So you will be seeing quite a bit about Torghast, but I will be focusing on the actual fun parts, the rewards, the achievements, tips and tricks on how to get better at your ranking and stuff like that. Not how to send your Soul Ash to your alts in the most efficient way, because really, who cares at this point? Last but not least, I will continue to jump into the legacy content of the whole game, and you'll be seeing the simplified guide versions of glory achievements, secrets, puzzles, mounts, pets, toys, cool transmog, and plenty of stuff that's been abandoned and forgotten about for no good reason at all. There's plenty to do and a bunch of cool things to obtain if you just give it a go, and I'll do my best to help you on that journey. That's all there is when it comes to the new patch thingies and my plans for the content and the channel overall. Let me know what you think about it in the comments, and if you feel like supporting the content, you can do that on Patreon or here as a channel member. If you'd like to contribute for free, you can do that by subscribing to the channel and getting awesome daily content. With that said, I'll see you very soon. Bye bye.